My sister told me to stop scaring away her dates, so I became her biggest wingman instead. My little sister Lila stood in my doorway that Friday night with mascara streaking down her face. That guy from theater who asked me to homecoming just backed out because apparently you cornered him in the parking lot, she said, shoving her phone in my face to show me a group chat called Warning Lila's Brother, with 47 members sharing horror stories about my interrogation tactics. I'm 17 and bisexual, which means my dating pool is already basically a puddle, and you've turned it into a desert. She took a shaky breath. Either you back off completely, or I'm sending mom the security footage of you sneaking someone through your window that weekend when you were supposedly at your friend's house. That hit different because I thought I was protecting Lila since she'd come out the previous year in our garbage town, where half the kids thought bisexuality meant she was desperate or confused. But seeing those messages about how I was the reason she'd never had a real relationship made something crack in my chest. You're absolutely right, and I'm going to fix this starting right now, I said, grabbing my phone while she watched in shock. Within 20 minutes, I'd commented on the theater guy's posts saying my sister thought he was talented, and posted a story saying my sister Lila is single and looking, with her tagged. Saturday morning, I drove her to the coffee shop and literally introduced myself to a girl from her art class as Lila's brother who totally supports her dating life before handing over Lila's number written on a napkin. When we ran into someone from band at Target, instead of my death glare, I shoved Lila into him while announcing that she'd mentioned his trumpet solo was attractive. Monday, I hijacked her phone during lunch and swiped right on everyone on her dating apps while she chased me through the cafeteria, accidentally super liking her math teacher who'd made a profile with his dog. Wednesday, I printed business cards saying, "You should date Lila," with her Instagram, and handed them out at her soccer game while using the announcer's mic to mention she was single. Thursday, I created a PowerPoint about why someone should date my sister, which I showed to people in the parking lot on a big projector screen, complete with pie charts about her personality traits. Friday hit peak insanity when I stood up during assembly and announced that my sister was accepting homecoming applications via a Google form requiring 3 references before security escorted me out. That's when Riley appeared, approaching Lila after the assembly disaster, saying he thought what I did was actually sweet and would she want to go to homecoming with someone who wouldn't be scared off. Riley was perfect on paper. Honor roll, debate captain, one of those faces that made parents trust him instantly. For 3 weeks, Lila floated around humming because Riley treated her like gold, bringing her lunch with notes, remembering every story, posting aesthetic couple photos about how lucky he was. But then cracks started showing. When Lila mentioned being partnered with someone for chemistry, Riley's smile tightened. When she went to a friend's birthday, he texted every 15 minutes. The real red flag came when Riley sent 53 messages in 12 minutes because she hadn't responded while making popcorn. Everything detonated when Riley showed up unannounced at 9 p.m. and found Lila working on a history project with 2 classmates, including a girl who had complimented Lila's presentation skills earlier that week. Riley's whole demeanor shifted as he stood in the doorway and said in this poisonous sweet voice, "Wow, must be a really important project for you to forget to invite me when you're hanging out with all these people who obviously want you. Because that's what being bi means, right? You're attracted to literally everyone in every room and they all want you back, so I have to compete with the entire human population for my girlfriend's attention." The silence was so thick, it felt like drowning, as Lila's face went from confused to furious to heartbroken in seconds. After she threw Riley out and spent 2 hours crying so hard she couldn't breathe, she looked at me with swollen eyes. "You knew, didn't you?" she whispered against my shoulder. "Every single person you scared away. You could tell they'd either treat me like an experiment or a threat or a fantasy, instead of just a person who happens to be bi." I held her while she shook. Riley seemed perfect, but the second he felt threatened, he showed what he really thought, like being bi makes me untrustworthy. The next morning we developed a new system where I still screen people, but now Lila can text me a pizza emoji if she needs me to show up and cause a distraction. A few weeks later at a party when some drunk guy wouldn't stop saying how hot it was that she swings both ways, she sent the emoji, and I appeared within 5 minutes to spill a red Solo cup on him.